guys.
Holy crap.
So this was supposed to be a dual stream test because we don't usually stream on YouTube. We used to stream on YouTube. Well, we used to stream on Twitch, then we used to stream on YouTube, then we went back to Twitch. So I was like, well, all of our regulars are on Twitch. So no one knows us on YouTube. I know, I'm kidding. Some of you guys know. This was also supposed to be different because I was like, I have a very special guest. And I was going to have like a big reveal, but I just didn't have the time because I had an HOA meeting and stuff happens. So yeah, anyway. Today we're going to talk about lore. This is something I wanted to do a standalone video on, but I was like, let's just do a live stream because it'll be less formal that way. Right? Mm-hmm. And you have thoughts too.
Oh, when you said you wanted to do it, I was like, can I join?
Let's do it.
Can I get in here? Can I be the special guest?
Because I started doing lore videos. By the way, I freaking hate that term. I think it's pretentious.
Lore videos?
Just lore.
Lore.
I just hate
what about
it.
The
and
podcast?
I know Aaron Mankey.
Okay, yeah.
Aaron Mankey's lore podcast about cryptids and everything about... And he talks a certain way. I'm not going to imitate him because, you know, he talks very distinctly. But he has a podcast called Lore. That's different. I'm talking about lore on YouTube is super freaking cringy. Can I just get that out of the way?
Wow, we're just starting. We're just starting spitting fire. Okay.
I feel like it's just a cringy term. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 years. So this is a long time coming. So please, like, me casually referring to actual human history as lore. Stuff like that, that's totally fine. That's fine. I'm talking about when we've elevated game, a game's story explained is now the lore. It's like, it's become some highbrow thing, and it's really turned me off of the whole thing.
I want to set a baseline, because I remember one time we played a card game, and one of my friends... told you the text at the bottom of the card was flavor text.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I remember you had a visceral reaction to that term. What's worse, flavor text or lore?
They're on the same level.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad it is. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to know the flavor text. There's some things that I just don't want to describe something, and that's one of them.
Okay.
But so I wanted to talk about this for a long time, specifically about Elden Ring, because... I had such polarizing opinions that at the time you could not talk about in certain spaces for fear of being ostracized or, being discredited or whatnot. So I have a whole thing planned tonight. And we also have this camera B, which is not set up well. Bullrush is here. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, Bullrush. Bullrush is one of Bullrush is from Twitch, so and same Bandita Locura is also from Twitch. So hello, Twitch people. We tried to do both things. I tried to dual stream. It did not work, but
I think it did work for 1 second and then it crashed.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll figure it out.
So we're close. We're this close.
If I even stream on YouTube again, but the reason I wanted to do this on YouTube was because
some folks only watch on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I saw a comment.
I know.
Yeah.
So if you guys like this, maybe we will do dual streams. But the reason I want to do this, I've been putting it off for 2 years, and then more things have come up relevant to this discussion. So it's like, let's just freaking talk about it, because I haven't been on YouTube in like months, and I thought it would just be a fun discussion to share some of my candid thoughts and also your opinions as well. So yes, thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, back to camera B. We do have some little figures here.
You can't. I like that you can't even see.
Yeah, you can't see the majority
a single
of them.
full any of them.
You're gonna have to like.
I'm gonna have to like scooch these little dudes around.
What's this one's name?
This one?
Do you know? Do you remember?
This Ronnie. Yeah.
Hey, Ronnie the Witch.
And this one is Blade.
Blade.
This one is Protagonist. This one is
That's Alexander.
This is Jarman, and this is.
I know the camera's so bad.
She turned into a goopy sphere. I remember that much. Goopy sphere lady. Hello, I'm a goopy sphere. I kind of
get it, especially because the accent you did sounded exactly like an intro to a hacksaw video. Wait, the accent I did was what accent? Was there like an Aaron Mankey accent that we were doing? Anyway, so I want to talk about, let me just talk about the background real quick, because let's just focus on Elden Ring for a second, which is why I brought all these tiny figures, although they're nothing compared to the giant one I have downstairs.
That's a big figure.
So when I started doing Elden Ring videos, I focused like on the story, and I have been doing story explanation videos on my channel for quite some time. And then Elden Ring was like super popular. Right. So everyone was like, oh my gosh, you do more of this stuff. And I was doing these tiny vignettes that were basically like summarizing certain parts of the game.
Well, I remember early days, even before Elden Ring came out, because I was really excited for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think this one we'll be able to co-op together. Because I've tried to make you play these games in the past and you hated them.
Yeah.
And I said, I think this one is going to be good to play together because it's open world and we'll be able to co-op the whole thing.
Right.
And then as we started playing, I even remember saying like, oh, all the lore is in the items.
Yeah.
Like all the story is told in the items. And I think something's like clicked where you started piecing things together.
The moment the game got interesting to me was in Renala's storyline.
I remember that.
That was when it got interesting to me. And then it was like, oh, it was this doomed romance. That was the first video I did. It was like the doomed romance. It was like 5 minutes long, right? As per was my style, I never did long form videos on my channel. The longest form video I had done was like 16 minutes or something like that. Not these obscene, like 5-hour long videos and whatnot. So it was like a 5-minute video, and then the next one I did was like a specific section, Castle Moor, and I was like, oh, it was super creepy. Everyone was getting chopped up. There's like some dark stuff going on here, and I love dark things and getting chopped up and stuff. So
I love getting chopped up.
I made a video about that. But if you look at the videos I did, it was like things that had stood out to me and were interesting at the time. And then something happened to where the discussion about it got really, really like hyper focused on things that weren't in the game. So you having played the game, could you keep up with the story based on things you kind of knew the general gist, right? Or was it really not there for you?
So I'll take a step back.
Yeah, you take a step back. Introduce yourself. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello. FlexTales here.
Toast to the person that said, I will never be successful on YouTube unless I push you down the stairs. Actual quote from someone in the Elden Ring community.
There's still time.
Which,
Stairs are right there.
That was one of the first comments I got. They're like, you were so unprofessional for having your boyfriend in your videos.
You know what? Compliment, they think I'm your boyfriend.
That's what I thought. I was like,
although that was then, this is now,
No, I was like, that's actually a compliment if we give off boyfriend-girlfriend vibes.
That level of youth.
Yeah, it was like, that was a compliment. So I was more flattered than anything else. But yeah, that was one of the first comments I got.
I love it.
When it got popular, like, you will never be successful unless you get rid of him.
Stay classy.
Which I guess they were right.
Stay classy, YouTube commenters. So one of the reasons I wanted to be here today with you on this video is because I grew up with FromSoft, believe it or not. Some of the first video games I ever played, well, I had a Sega Genesis, but the second console I had was a PlayStation. One of the first games I had in the PlayStation, I was young scrup, was Armored Core. And I have loved FromSoft games, especially the Armored Core series, my entire life. And when Demon's Souls came out in the PlayStation 3, it blew my mind. Because it was like they took the concept of Armored Core, but applied it to this like fantasy action RPG. And I couldn't tell you a single Armored Core story. Couldn't tell you if I wanted to. When I played Demon's Souls, I'm like, I love this. They've made it work in fantasy. There's a big squiggly thing in Demon's Souls. There's a maiden. That's okay. That's what I know about that game. Then Dark Souls came out and everything changed. Suddenly this like weird little niche Japanese studio that I loved became this behemoth.
Yeah.
That everyone knew. And like when I would tell people, oh yeah, I'm playing Dark Souls, they're like, oh, you like those hard, you're gonna die a lot games. Bro. And I'm like, I just like these games.
Yeah.
I just like them. But the trend continued in that every single game of FromSoft that I play, I love. I love the experience of mastering the combat, figuring out the mechanics. I do know that there are story and lore. I mean, I was like, the items tell the story. I think Bloodborne is the only one I could actually... Bloodborne and Sekiro are the only ones I could actually tell you generally what is happening in the story. But that has been such a backseat thing for me. Yeah. Because these games have always been, since the very beginning, really tight-knit, deeply mechanical, statistics-oriented game. Like, even the first Armored Core, you pull up this screen, and it's just stats about all the parts and pieces of your mech. Things are falling over. It's okay. And, you know, Demon's Souls did the same thing. All of their games are so deeply ingrained in numbers and stats and learning patterns and matching and fighting bosses over and over and learning those like... So when I found out that there was, like, lore tubers, I proceeded to ignore them because I did not care. Yeah. But when I found out you were interested in lore, I was like, well, this is great because this is exactly what you are good at. You dig into things, you find the stories, and when you started making these videos, I actually watched them. Your videos were the first lore videos I've ever seen in my life because I just don't care. And like, you did a really good job. You made it interesting, and I loved that. But to get to where you were just talking about, then you started telling me something that was happening when I was like, what is wrong with people? Right. And let's get back to that.
So let's say, now I could take a little step back. The first game I got really involved with lore, story explanation videos, was The Forest.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So Sons of the Forest was a survival game that kind of seems like a zombie game. But when you played it, it had a really, really dark story. And it was all environmental. It was all environmental storytelling. So there wasn't cutscenes. There wasn't dialogue. There wasn't pages and pages of explanation. It was just, you'd find a clue here, you'd find a clue there. You'd see a poster on the wall, and you'd piece together. And to me, I talked about that game for like 3 days straight, piecing it. I was like, oh my gosh.
You got like into it.
Yes. I got super invested in it. I made a second video. I made a few videos. I think I made like 3 or 4 videos about The Forest, and I played Sons of the Forest 2. I'm very excited about
Forest 3.
Forest 3.
I need to play 2 so I can play 3.
2 is a little bit of a letdown, I will say. But got super invested. So I will say that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I love this kind of storytelling.
But you've always, like, just knowing you, even back when I was your boyfriend, you've always really liked little antique letters, and you've liked journals and books and investigating old, dilapidated like, you want to know the story behind I
like environmental storytelling.
You love environmental storytelling. Like,
I like looking
and
at
you're good at
a building. Yeah, and putting a story together. And that's one of the things that Elden Ring, it was so fun because it's like, oh, you walk into this place and it like tells a story. And so for me, the discussion got really, really out of hand when people started saying, you can't understand the game unless you preface it with blah, 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 blah. You can't understand the story unless you've played every single FromSoft game. You can't understand the story unless you've read every single whatever essay. You know, you had to have read everything by George R.R. Martin from his birth onward if you were going to understand Elden Ring. You have to have played everything from Miyazaki. You have to have watched every single anime he watched. And then I was like, this is so freaking insane to make that claim that I can't ever understand the story the same way that someone of this caliber can, because, you know, they have all this other advanced knowledge that I didn't have a chance to.
Well, it also means one of two things. Either one, it is so pretentiously up its butt storytelling that, like, you clearly cannot tell a good enough story because you're so reliant on all these other parts and pieces to make your story good. Yeah. Or that's not true and your story sucks.
See, and this is the conclusion that you'd have to come to.
Right. There's only two options you can go to if that's what you believe.
Yeah, okay. I see the term gatekeeping. That's exactly what it was. It started to become gatekeeping. And so then we have to strip it back. If you make let's take, I don't know, give me a movie that has a really good story and a really good setting that's popular that we can reference?
A good story, a good set. I mean, Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so let's say Lord of the Rings, right?
Right.
So that would be like if you said, I watched Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, oh yeah, I really loved how, Aragorn went up with the ring, and then you said, well, you're never going to understand it the same way I did because I've read everything.
I read the
by
Silmarillion. And
yeah, I
know
read all the
1,000 years
texts.
that it happened before
Right.
Lord of the Rings.
So you're never going to be able to know it as good as I, and you discredit everything I say because of that. Like, this sort of gatekeeping behavior I saw, and I actually made a video on it because do you remember when Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok were up for best narrative? They were one of the two options, and really caused this, like, infighting with, I mean, the internet likes
do you remember
to
which
fight
one
about
won?
everything. God of War.
Thank God.
Yeah. So for best narrative, but then you had people from the Elden Ring community coming out and saying, anyone that thinks Ragnarok has a better story than Elden Ring is stupid. You're an idiot. People were calling me an idiot. People were saying, you're too simple to understand Elden Ring. That's why you like Ragnarok. By the way, if you left those comments, I just blocked people. Who's that guy that blocks everyone? Kamiya?
Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah.
Love
so
Hideki Kamiya.
I would just block people. Because why am I going to let people talk to me this way? But that was one of the discussions at the time that I felt like was such an ugly side of this group of people that I kind of like started to recoil. Like, I really just don't want to be a part of this because I found it pretentious, but I really found it just incredibly off-putting as well. There were accusations where if you don't, because a lot of people were saying, oh, Elden Ring doesn't really have a narrative because you have to piece it all together. Someone was saying, you must not know how to read books. You must not enjoy reading. I'm like, dude, I freaking love reading.
You do.
I love reading, right?
And you read nonfiction.
I've started to become very into nonfiction.
You read the hard books.
I used to be like fiction all of my life. But then to make that kind of judgment, like, oh, you're too stupid to understand Elden Ring's narrative. That's why you don't think. And so for me, I like to take a step back. Oh, hi there. Zafe the Scholar just wanted to say hi. Hello. For everyone else, just wanted to say hello. Hi,
hello.
Please feel free to interrupt us. The train of thought will continue. But I was so, I felt it was so snooty that it really turned me off of the space. And that's what happens. Unfortunately, a work of art will get blamed for its fandom. I know this is why a lot of people, I did a little poll like months ago when I talked about what's the worst fandom. Number one response was Undertale.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because apparently if you said anything that went against Undertale's lore or the canon or the fandom and whatnot, they'd attack you and really, really, and we're going to get to this in another fandom, but they'd attack you in really personal ways. And so this is the same sort of thing I started seeing within the Elden Ring space, was that people were making judgments against someone's intelligence based on them not having what they thought was the prerequisite knowledge to being able to play the game, or if they didn't say, that's not my favorite way of storytelling. I really like, I like dialogue. I like thoughtful stories put together. I like character growth. And, oh, well, you're too stupid. You must not like reading. Like, these insane accusations. And these were coming from, like, these weren't just coming from nobody's in the community. They're coming from, like, from the top.
Can I want to bring up an example real quick.
Bring it up.
Because what you're saying is really resonating with me. Like, I didn't even know we were going to go down this path. So, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
We recently played all the Metal Gear Solid games. Mm-hmm. Masterpieces.
10 out of 10.
Every single one,
Perfection.
10 out of 10. Now, growing up, the first game I played in Metal Gear Solid, which is the same first game you played in the Metal Gear Solid franchise,
was
3. I played the demo for 1 quite a lot, but I never had it because I was a child and I wasn't allowed to buy rated M games. Now, when you played 3, did you enjoy 3?
Yes, immensely.
Did it move you emotionally?
Yes, freaking sobbed.
Sobbed like a baby.
Sobbed,
I did too.
cried.
Every time I played that game, I sobbed like a baby.
Multiple times.
Now, if you were to play it again, having played Peace Walker and Phantom Pain and all the others, would you have a slightly different experience engaging with it?
Yes, absolutely.
Does that diminish any of the story that you felt the first time you played it?
No. In fact, it would probably impact me more.
Right. And this was the point I wanted to get to is like Lord of the Rings, I think is a perfect example. That world is as deep as the ocean when you look at all of the history Tolkien has created. But when you watch Fellowship of the Ring, what you are experiencing is a story about humanity and people, you know, man versus man versus nature. It is a story that will move you emotionally. And whether it's your first time experiencing this world or you are deep in the lore, you're still going to have that emotional experience. Now, what you get added by engaging with supplemental and additional work is context.
Yeah.
Now, does context impact Elden Ring because of Miyazaki's other works and George R. R. Martin's other work? George R. R. Martin? Yeah. Other work.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. Georgie
Maybe.
Boy. Georgie Boy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
Unlike Metal Gear and Lord of the Rings, Elden Ring doesn't have a through line story. Like the thing I remember the most about Elden Ring, like emotionally, was Melina in the tree. Melania in the tree. Yeah. Melina in the tree when she kind of like burns herself.
Yeah,
to burn the tree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's
I thought it was Melina.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's it. Like that was the emotional arc.
Right.
I was like, oh, I kind of liked her. That's sad to see her burn. I feel like that, that should have been a choice I got to make, but I guess it was technically. You didn't have to.
Yeah, you didn't have to. There was multiple choices.
If that is your overarching story arc, I would argue your story is not very... It's not doing a Metal Gear, and it's certainly not doing a Lord of the Rings.
Right, but you have to... My problem is people that are not objective enough to say that. Like, if you were to say which has a better narrative, and then you'd have to define narrative, okay, a storytelling method of delivering the story, which has a better narrative, God of War, Ragnarok, or Elden Ring. Like, people...
I mean, I think Rising Revengeance has a better story than Elden Ring.
Yes.
When we're just talking about pure story.
Right, but this is not to say we don't like Elden... Like, this is what people don't get. You are allowed to say something does something does either narrative or gameplay, whatever, in a more direct way than something else. Like, that is just an objective statement. I'm going to read a couple comments. Zave says, to add to your point, there are a few regulars in my comment section who make it a point to let me know that any point I make is invalid because I haven't formally studied Victorian era occultism.
Occultism,
sorry.
Well, Zave, I don't know what's holding you back. Obviously, you know to go get a PhD in it.
Okay, this is a perfect segue into what... This is the perfect segue. Okay, so I started seeing these cracks in which people were starting to do this weird purity testing in terms of if you were worthy enough, right? So first it was just like, oh my gosh, I like this story. I love the world. I like the characters. And second, it became, well, have you played the other games? Or is this your first one? Have you played the other games, or is this the only one? And then it became, well, have you read Song of Ice and Fire? I'm like, what? Who? And then it became, like, well, have you seen the 1965 anime that Miyazaki grew up in and watched? I was like, whoa.
I mean, that is just...
Now it started just getting too intense, right?
That's spiraling. That's what that is.
So in the beginning, the content... Like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, the content was really pure. The content was just, here's a story I like, here's a character I like. And then it started getting, like, freaking Tower of Babel. Then people were, like, bringing out camera mods, guilty. Camera mods, they were taking out, like, things, coding. They were taking out hidden script. They were taking they were taking things that cut content, original dialogue. Here's files that I found buried under, 15 lines of code that the developers said they deleted, but I found them. It started to get that intense. It started to get really conspiracy tinfoil theory. Like, stuff that shouldn't be considered canon became canon. And then it was just like, dude, this is way too intense. Because then I'd have, well, kite tails, you didn't consider the original Japanese word, which was cut out. It may have been a mistranslation, but the original text that was cut out from the developers 5 years into the process originally said... So now I started thinking, okay, we have the product created, shipped, and sent to us.
Yes.
Elden Ring, right? Just a tiny box. But now you're saying all these other things need to be included with it when that wasn't the intent of the developers. And so now for me... at this point, it became a thing of, I'm legit too afraid to say the word asset reuse because people are going to tell me to KYS.
Holy cow, really?
If I say, oh, hey, I don't necessarily think that certain stone means anything just because it showed up across the map, I'd get a death threat. Like that kind of level of intensity, okay? It started to get way too out of control. Like really, really crazy. Like looking at, a character's inside their mouth, inside their face.
Like you're in the skin.
To see there may have been secret text on their teeth.
Oh, good.
Stuff like that to where I'm like, I can't imagine this was the original intent. So if we strip everything back, no more camera mods, right? No, you're not allowed to use camera mods if you want to tell something in the story. You're not allowed to, go and hack the files and look at the character models and see what they were named that shouldn't have any impact on the story. Now you are saying unless you were able to do all of this stuff, you can't have a true... Do you see how it just kept growing and growing and growing? Like, you were never good enough. You were never going to be good enough because you didn't have a camera mod. You're not a hacker. You don't read Japanese. You didn't grow up next door to George or Miyazaki. It was just too much. It got too out of control.
And just a minor point. In an interview, I can't quote it because I don't memorize it.
I might know which interview.
I don't care. About. But Miyazaki talked. They asked him like, "Hey, how do you come up with these stories?" And he's like, "Oh, I used to love reading fantasy books as a kid in English, but my English wasn't so good, so I kind of just pieced things together, but was mostly confused." And like, right. I'm butchering the quote, but it was along that line.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh." That's it. That's what all of this is. Is it's just a mishmash of either fantasy or Victorian or mechs, just in fun and interesting ways that makes you go, huh, I wonder what's the deal with that. And another point before we get back to it. In Dark Souls, there's a character called Marvelous Chester. See, I do know a couple of things.
You know a couple.
And... The character Marvelous Chester in Dark Souls was in the Notorious Abyss DLC. Looks so cool. This character looks so cool if you've never seen him before. You would love him because he looks like he's out of Bloodborne, right? Like he looks like a Bloodborne character. And it turns out like that character was probably a tease for the Bloodborne project they were working on. And they would do this again years later by having, I don't remember who it was, but like they had the Western or the Eastern samurai show up in a game, and that was like a tease for Sekiro. I feel like that's the depth of what From Software really wants to get at with their, we're hiding things.
Yeah.
Firstly, front and center. You could see the characters. You're like, that guy looks out of place. He doesn't look like he belongs in a Dark Souls. He looks way too Victorian. And, the same thing with the samurai. It's like, you don't look like you belong in Dark Souls. You look like you belong in a samurai game. These are references to future projects. But that was in the game. I didn't have to go in the files for that. That was just like, why is that character so different?
Right. But see, what's happened with the, I'd say the Elden Ring discourse became so convoluted with everything that you needed to do or you needed to have access to understand it, to where you could see, like, what is it called? A tricorn hat?
Yeah.
The little, whatever it's called.
And that's a Bloodborne reference.
And they'd say, God damn it, the universes are connected. George R. R. Martin did it again. You're like, wait, did George R. R. Martin work on Blood? Yes. I'm like, he's always worked on it. It got too intense. It got so crazy.
Why did you turn into a FromSoft NPC just then?
Because that's how they act. And I forget, George R. R. Martin is not British, but I always want to imitate him as a British man because all of his characters are British.
Why wouldn't you?
But so that was one of the things. And listen, I'm not saying you could go look at my early videos where it was just like using the telescope and you could see like the health bar and stuff. And then you look at my last videos and it's like I got the angles. Yeah, I got the freaking like camera mod. I like paused the game. I did slow-mo. I did all these effects. It was very cinematic. And so I think the great bastardization of the story, you can look at it. Go look at the earliest lore videos. And you'll see they're all focused on story, their character. It was
Things
all
you can
things
find in
that
the
you
game.
could see because no one at the time was doing the camera mod, modding, taking the characters apart, looking at the file.
Right.
No one was doing that.
It was the items, it was
Yes.
the dialogue, it was
Yes.
the little things you could get in the side quests.
Right. It was everything that everyone had access to.
If you had a PlayStation,
That was it.
you could get the lore.
Right.
But eventually you need to get off, you filthy console peasant. How dare you play on a PlayStation? You need a PC so you can dissect the game with mods.
Yes. Let me read some comments. Absolutely resonates on multiple levels. I think the sad reality of it is this isn't just a problem with Elden Ring in particular, but rather fandoms in general. And can't have fandoms, fans without fanaticism.
Yep.
That is such a good point.
That's a
and
really good
this
point.
is going to transition to other things. This whole thing isn't going to be about Elden Ring, but because this has been such a thing I've
It's
wanted
the
to talk
core.
about for 2 years. Yeah. Let's just get Elden Ring out of the way. Yeah, he tried reading stuff in English, but his poor English left huge gaps in his understanding of the story, so he just filled that stuff in himself. Samurais don't even look like they belong and where they belong. Oh, miss this dude. Thanks, Wayne. So if my opinion as it is right now, this is like the parable of the old woman in the sea. She kept asking for more. She asked the fish for more. Can I have hacks? Can I have camera mods? Can I have Japanese language? Can I have the ability to rip these items and look at them in a processor and run it through an X-ray machine and find hidden text? Can I zoom in? It was just asking more and more and more. So
That's not a fun way to live.
that's not a fun way to live.
It's not a
And
fun way to live.
honestly, to me, I felt like it really ruined my interest in the game,
Yes.
which is not fair to the game. And this is something that a lot of people can resonate with. When fandoms act a certain way, it makes you want to have nothing to do with the IP. And that's not fair to the people who worked on the IP. And so that's something that I've had to get over, because I will tell you what, when Night Rain came out, I was done.
Yeah.
I was so exhausted. And this isn't even like, let me just make this clear. I love that people are passionate about stuff. I would never, ever try and take someone's hobbies or interests away from them. It was just you are allowed to be interested in a hobby. You are not allowed to make someone else feel inferior because they don't see it the same way you do. That's insane. That's just not a healthy way to coexist with other people.
It's also counterintuitive to getting more of what you like. And I wish I could tell every fanatic this, because every time I hear, beyond just this, anytime there's a fandom that starts gatekeeping, what you don't realize is when you turn away potential newcomers to this fandom, that lessens the possibility of you getting more of it.
Right,
Like,
because people get easily turned off of it.
I don't like Star Wars because I went on the Star Wars subreddit and they all made fun of me because I've only seen the prequels, right?
Right,
Like,
or if you asked a question that would be, I'm trying to think, I don't know, like, you know, what's a good novice question that one could ask about Star Wars?
do the lightsabers have batteries?
There you go.
Right,
There's
like, I
something
mean,
ask about that, and you get chewed out.
Because if you're not in the lore, you don't know about
Right.
kyber. You don't know about kyber crystals? Come on, you're not a real fan. Something that's never talked about in any of the main movies. By the
because
way.
you have to have like all this supplemental,
Yes.
you know, everything that is required.
Hate Star Wars.
But for Elden Ring, I had so many ideas and little scripts I had written up and stuff like that. And just from personal experiences with people, even just like, there was so much talks of like accusations, like, oh, you stole so-and-so's theory, or this happened. It got so freaking insane that I'm so grateful that I got to experience it free of any of that stuff, because that was really, really fun and special. Just having the telescope, not listening to any of this, you know, oh, you can't say asset or use blah, blah. That was really nice and special, and I'm glad I got to be a part of that. So one of the reasons I stopped making videos was just because I just got really, really sick of the fanaticism. So we do have. Do I still have Mesmer? Of course, I still have Mesmer.
Where would he go?
So
He
I've
weighs
gotten
800 pounds.
I've gotten so many offers to buy him though.
But they're low balls.
They're low balls.
Y'all aren't going nearly high enough.
I'm like, come on.
Do you really want a life-size Mesmer?
Honestly though, like even if I did get a good offer, no, there's no way.
He's really become a part of our home.
He's the first thing I wake up I see every morning.
I don't have to
Literally,
feed him.
he's in front of me.
Don't have to walk him?
No, it's just the coolest thing ever.
He's really cool.
So that was just my little thing. But it bled in, and this is something that I'm personally getting over. It bled into me not wanting to play Night Rain because I was so exhausted. I was like, I am done.
Well,
I never want to hear anything about this universe again.
I remember we would be like going out to dinner at night and your phone would blow up.
Yeah.
And it was like people almost borderline like having meltdowns about lore.
Yeah.
Like, go live your life.
Right. Like,
live your life.
That green stuff on the ground, just go pet it.
Touch it. Just rub it.
But that's another example about just the toxicity that was really bred from this, that really, really turned me off of it. So I was like, you wanted to play Night Rain?
I really wanted to play Night Rain.
And I was like, no, I'm not touching Night Rain.
That's the first FromSoft game I didn't play at launch.
Yeah.
In like 15 years.
Because I was like, no.
Yeah.
But then it went on sale. So we've played it.
Oh yeah, love it.
We've beat the bosses. I can't tell you like
we haven't beat the DLC bosses. Well, I have. You have not beat the DLC bosses yet.
Yeah, the balancers.
The balancers.
But I tell you what, I've never been so checked out. I can't tell you. Iron Eye. That's all I play as. That's all I know. Do you want to know the reason I played as him?
Why do you play as?
1, he's ranged. 2, he talks like I talk. He's accentless.
So, I mean, fun fact.
Yeah.
I know more about Night Rain's story than I know about Elden Ring.
You know much more about Night Rain's
because it actually has a story.
And I think there was just a little bit like, well, at this point, I wasn't involved anymore, so I didn't have any kind of, the breathing down my neck stuff that I got with Elden Ring. But it was just nice and refreshing to be so freaking checked out. But, so I played with you and my brother, and my brother knows nothing about Elden Ring. Okay?
Nothing.
He knows 0. The only thing my brother knows about Elden Ring is Margit, because my brother's very stubborn, and you can argue you can beat Margit the first time if you want, right?
Once you know his, the whole thing about Margit is he's slow. Which is very unusual for FromSoft, because usually they're hyper-aggressive.
I mean,
but he's like, I gotcha. It's
always there was a little bit of telegraphing his moves and stuff like that. Yeah. But for the most part, maybe you'd get to him and you're like, oh, I'm going to come back.
Yeah, which is the point.
But my brother stayed and he beat him for it was 2 days or something like that.
I think he said something like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, he spent quite a bit of time because he was like, I will. That's probably the only thing my brother can tell you about. So when I play Elden Ring with you and my brother, neither of you really know much about Elden Ring.
And I'll be like, hey, who's this boss?
Yeah.
Because it obscures all of their names in Night Rain.
Right, well, I will hear you and my brother referring to... So they call Red Wolf of Radigan the dog.
Yeah, the dog.
There's here, the dog's over here.
Lion over there.
I'll also... Yeah, the lion. I'll also hear my brother call the demi-human queen... the demon queen. And
I've asked you no less than 10 times, why are the weird white blobby ones Albinarics if the women and the dogs are also Albinarics? Yes,
that's right.
And you've told me, I will not remember.
The frog ones are 2nd gen.
That's a terrible DNA strain. Just terrible.
But I asked you, I was like, how would you feel if I corrected you every single time you called the dog? I was like, actually,
excuse me, madam.
Actually, it's the Red Wolf of Radigan, and that's his spirit. Like, if I went off, actually, brother, it's the demi-human queen, and the reason she uses spell.
I'd be messaging your brother and be like, hey, you want to do some duos?
Yeah.
Let's just do some duos moving forward.
Connection dropped.
That's a real vibe kill.
But what if I was like, it'd be terrible.
It would be terrible.
It'd be insufferable.
Now, we will ask you occasionally.
Yeah. And honestly, a bunch of that stuff I freaking yoinked from my memory.
Well,
as freaking trauma, I've yoinked it.
It's so funny because the difference between Night Rain and Elden Ring is in Night Rain, there are Dark Souls bosses.
Yes.
And I'll be like, yo, it's freaking Nameless King.
Right.
And you're like, who the hell's that?
Nameless King to me kind of looks like Plankton's body type. Have you noticed that?
He does have.
He has like Plankton's body type.
He's got a huge swath
like
of hair.
Freaking Plankton.
Yeah,
and the tiny arms, the tiny legs. I'm like, oh, we're fighting Plankton in a wig.
Plankton on a dragon.
Okay, let me catch up with some of the comments. Sorry. $15,000 on eBay? Is that what someone is listing Mesmer on without my permission? Keitel's current vibes about the upcoming Elden Ring movie. Is Elden Ring adaptable to the medium? Let me talk about this for a second.
Please.
Okay. We love the director.
Love.
We've seen all of his movies.
Except for one. Men.
Which
we need to.
But we've seen the rest of his movies. My favorite, okay, let's start back. What was his first, big...
He's done a lot of written stuff. Like, he wrote 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
He, what else did he write before he started directing? I think the first big movie that his first real notable work, the one I remember, was Dread.
Yeah.
Which, such a good movie. I think the first movie he directed was Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And then he did...
And Ex Machina, if you have not seen it, is...
so good.
Freaking good.
So good.
Good movie.
Did Annihilation.
Yep.
Devs.
Mm-hmm.
I know he did... Civil War. And...
Warframe.
Warfare.
Yeah, sorry. Warfare.
Didn't do Warframe, thank God.
But Civil War and Warfare.
Civil War and Warfare.
Are his most recent. So, you want to talk about... Elden Ring is all about wars.
Yes.
Elden Ring is all about wars. The man knows wars, and he knows how to depict them really well done. Now, do I think Elden Ring needs to be made into a movie? No, but I will absolutely watch his adaptation.
Well, I feel like what he's going to do is what the good video game adaptations have done, like Arcane and Fallout.
Right.
Where it's going to be a story that you don't get in the game proper.
Yeah.
If that's the route they go, I think it'll
else.
probably be a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, do I think he would F up just a proper adaptation of the game? Probably not. But I think the right approach is to side story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do something tangential
in that universe.
where you'll recognize the references.
Yeah.
But not piss anyone off because you didn't do the
Right.
Red Dragon of Renala.
So I think one selfish part of me also wants to see this movie just so there can be an official canon and though everyone can just finally zip it. There's no infighting about it.
So you're saying I won't get the Elden Ring movie unless I watch all of Alex Garland's filmography?
But see,
start at the beginning.
That would be such a ridiculous thing for us to say. That would be so stupid. And in no other... I can't think of anything else in which people are so nitpicky about you having all this prerequisite knowledge to be able to understand it.
I want you to watch them because they're good and I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah.
But it has no requirement for Elden Ring
No.
whatsoever.
Okay, I have to say, if you want to watch one of Alex Garland's movie and you haven't seen it, please go watch Ex Machina. It has Oscar Isaacs and one of my favorite freaking actresses. What's her name?
Vikander.
Yes. Alicia Vikander. She's so freaking cute. She's Dutch. I love her. She's one of the cutest human beings ever. But she's so good in this movie. It's a sci-fi. It's about this android, and Oscar Isaacs has this really beautiful remote. And
say what else he's got. Got a dance floor.
He's got a dance floor.
He's got a dance floor.
He's gonna tear it up. What's the guy's name? One of the Weasley brothers, the redheaded guy that was in a lot of stuff that escaped the Harry Potter curse. Donovan, Dollahan.
Dom Hall.
That's it.
Dom Hall.
I knew it was something about that.
Is Gleason? Dom Hall Gleason?
Dom Hall Gleason.
Dom Hall Gleason.
No, that's not his name. I don't think so. Maybe it is.
Okay.
He was also the one in Star Wars. That Oscar Isaacs made the "your mom" joke to. Whatever.
Yeah, that was
moving on.
Star Wars.
So yeah, that is just my opinions on Elden Ring in general. I think my official statement is I don't think anything using mods, anything using hacks, anything using mistranslated cut text, anything using buried file names that were there for organization purposes between developers and not meant for the fans' eyes. I don't think you need any prerequisite knowledge. I don't think you need to watch play any of the games beforehand. I don't think you need to read any of Georgie's stuff. This is my official thing. If you cannot make something that someone can pick up and experience without having seen, then you didn't make a good product. Like, what if I said, oh, hey, everyone, go watch Scorsese's The Departed. You'll love it.
But excuse me, you cannot watch Scorsese's Departed until you've seen his previous works as well as the Chinese inspiration, Infernal Affairs.
Automatically just like, please, listen, you can't talk to people like this unless I go to your home and your toilet is spotless. Okay? If I go to your home and your toilet is spotless, rim up, everything is clean.
Rim up?
No, unannounced visit.
Ooh.
Unannounced visit.
Unannounced visit.
Your toilet
rim
is
up.
spotless. Okay,
wow.
you can talk to me like that then. But if you are not, if that does not fit, you cannot talk to me like that. I have standards.
If the toilet ain't clean, you can't talk to the queen, all right?
That's it.
That's all there is to it now.
You can't talk to the queen.
Shut it down.
That's my standards. Now, I want to move on to other things. Worst fandom I have recently dealt with was Guess. Guess. What is the worst fandom I have recently dealt with? Actually, I will say the worst fandom of all time that I have dealt with that has really freaking killed my love for a game. I'll just tell you, Clair Obscur. I loved Clair Obscur. Okay, let me tell you. I freaking loved Clair Obscur. Parce que c'est français. It was so freaking me. It was French as heck.
Oui.
I just loved the color. I loved the story. Again, another game bawled my eyes out at the end.
I say, for those who come after, to the most rando people.
Yeah, for those who come after.
And they're like, what does he mean? And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just a good thing to say.
For those who come after.
For those who come after.
So we did a debate video, which was literally just a discussion like what we're having now, about Clair Obscur, about some of the choices you can make in Clair Obscur. What's that?
IDK has gotten me twice with a laugh. When you said the worst fandom, they said Tool. And shout out to you for making that reference. I see you. I see you.
So Clair Obscur, so we did this talk about some of the decisions you can make in Clair Obscur, and we both made different decisions. And I cannot tell you the level of hate that we both got. We both got equally. Yeah. We both got like 50%.
Can you quote some of the things people said about you and me?
I mean, they said that I was a sociopath. Like, you were certifiably like a sociopath. You need to get tested. They said you're going to hell.
Straight to hell.
They also told me
first class one-way ticket.
That I need to leave you. They said you need to leave him immediately.
That's sad. All because I chose something different in a video game.
Because of a video game.
Because I felt bad. I felt bad. No spoilers, but I felt bad.
They just said, like, we're going to hell. I'm a sociopath. They've made accusations against me, and they made accusations against you. And I just have to, I wish I could take this person aside and say, listen, you are mistreating real human beings because we did things that you don't like that affected video game characters. Like, you are mistreating actual human beings and saying vile bullshit to them because your video game character's fifis got hurted. Do you not see how insane that is? They are treating actual flesh and blood people like shit because they said, oh, well, you didn't do the right thing. You didn't pick the right thing. So I'm going to treat, like, what?
But
you're standing up for a video game character and making a judgment saying I have to freaking divorce you and that I'm going to hell and I'm a sociopath and God's going to shackle me and send me straight to Satan or whatever.
But
over a video game character?
But the real...
It's insane.
The real insanity is the amount of passion that exists on both sides of this ending.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. Because that means both sides are certifiably nuts if they feel I am so sure that what I did was right and true, that I'm going to go online and bully someone because they chose something different than me. but the same is happening on the other side. Like, that's wild.
But when the argument is actually about the well-being of fictional characters, okay, the well-being of fictional characters, you are now talking to people who put fictional fake characters that do not exist
over a real relationship,
actual human beings.
Yes.
That to me shows a complete lack of, I don't know how someone gets to that point. And I saw it in the Elden Ring community too. If you liked certain characters, you would have all kinds of accusations made against you. If you liked this character, hey, can you do the...
Oh.
What is it? iPhone view.
Oh.
All right.
There we go. Oh, thank you.
Look how cute it is.
Oh, so cute. So many hands.
If you liked this character, not this one, you'd have all kinds of accusations made against you to the point where I'm like, I freaking love her. I've always loved her. And I'm not going to hide the fact that I love her. And now I'm being made to feel like I'm a bad person because of it. Again, freaking insane.
Insane, the membrane.
So, unfortunately, I loved Claire Obscure. But the response from that made me say, I'm good. And then when Claire Obscure won like freaking
every
36
single
awards at the Game Awards show, listen, I'm not saying it didn't deserve to win Game of the Year. Everyone was rooting for it.
But I am saying Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did deserve to win Game of the Year.
A lot of games were robbed, okay? What? Like, this is not against Claire Obscure. Listen, I'm glad they won. I would have liked to see other games be allowed to have the time to shine. I just don't think it was fair. And I don't know what went into the judging panel. There were a lot of games that just got freaking snubbed, and I was not cool with it. And I think this is like the underdog
It's because Hollow Knight split the vote. Hollow Knight came in there and split the vote. This is why you can't have Hollow Knight and Hades come out in the same year. It's just going to ruin everything.
Did you say feet killed her?
Because of the...
Oh,
hello there.
look at the feet.
Look at the feet.
She has pretty pronounced bunions, which they need to put that in there because people have bunions and we need not shy away from it.
No.
I need to see these people. Kite keeps interacting. Yeah, Keldar. Listen, I don't interact with these people anymore.
They interact with her.
Because I was like, this is actually, laughing aside, the jokes aside, this is really sick. Okay, this is a sick part of fandoms.
Yes.
Where they treat actual human beings worse than they do fictional characters. And they are willing to hurt actual human beings because of a fictional character. I don't know. I really doubt anyone like that is watching this right now. So the people that need to hear this probably won't. But
they will come and leave a really mean comment after reading the title.
Yeah, right? They'll say something. But how do we get to the point and what causes this, okay? Because, like I said, everyone told me Undertale's fandom is the worst. Mm-hmm. I didn't experience that with Undertale's fandom because I never got involved in Undertale's fandom. I played Undertale. I remember I streamed it on YouTube. And I got to the last like section of the game, and people were really like heavy with the backseat gaming and the spoilers and stuff like that. And I actually said, I was like, I will not finish this game if you guys do not behave. I'm going to turn off the stream, and if you do not behave, I will not finish it on stream. And it worked. Everyone was like,
that was early days too.
Yeah, that was early days.
Yeah, I didn't play Undertale for years.
I played it
after
early.
Yeah,
I played it early days. I even have an Azrael voice acting clip. So I don't know though. I feel like this has gotten so much worse because you'd think like, okay, maybe people have gotten like no, Claire Obscure just came out, and the most heinous behavior has been from, and clear, they were not people who watch us regularly because they had no idea who either of us were. So they were just random people who stopped by and said these terrible things to us. And I thought like, it is so ironic that you are upset on behalf of a fictional character, that you were willing to say these heinous things to flesh and blood humans. Like, I don't understand that. Make that make sense to me.
I do want to bring up something that I didn't expect to bring up because I didn't know we were going to go this direction. But we've been watching Ken Burns' Civil War. Yeah. And the documentary is broken up into years, and we finished the year where Gettysburg 1863,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
That was Gettysburg. And towards the end of the episode, towards the end of the year, Lincoln gives the Gettysburg Address, which I guarantee you, if you live in America, if you went to the American education system growing up, you know the first, like, 4 words 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And because Ken Burns' Civil War is based so much on letters, documents, testimony of the people of the time, there was someone who wrote in a gazette,
Yeah, that's fair.
no one will remember what was said on that day. And, like, it hit me so hard
Yeah.
when that was like, these people have always existed.
Yeah.
These just malicious, conniving, jealous, sad little people.
It's always
that
existed.
You're going to go write that in a paper, and it's going to be preserved for all time. And now we, 200 years later, look back upon you and say, wow, that guy was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the comments are overwhelming,
Right.
but when you go and say just bully on the internet, I look at you and I think, you're just like this guy. You're just like this guy who wouldn't put this in the Gazette. Like, no one's going to look upon you in the future and think, wow, what a human being.
No. They will look back disdainfully.
But again, they're not watching, so it doesn't matter. They're just reading the headline. They're going to leave a mean
the
comment.
people that need to know are not going to know. The people who do the judging at the Game Awards is, if I remember, a few staff, industry insider friends of Jeff, and a handful of game journalists. Insiders are basically devs, executives of studios. Yeah, I'm sure there is definitely some unfair stuff that goes on behind the judging.
I listened to a podcast that had 2 judges that used to be on it. Yeah. And, like, they're not anymore because they're no longer part of the games journalism outlet. But you have to be part of a pretty big outlet to get considered to be a judge.
I mean, listen, the Game Awards, that's all freaking fluff.
It's a marketing show.
It's marketing. It's
Which,
so, let me say, it is
all the more
so
reason not
out
to give
of touch, though.
Clear obscure everything.
It's so out of touch because Jeff Keighley, Lord and Savior, whatever.
We love
Dave,
Jeff
whatever.
We do like Jeff Keighley.
We love Jeff. But when he comes out in his custom-made suits, his Malone Oblonics,
Girl.
you see the red of his shoes as he's walking, and you're like, oh, there is a great divide. There is a great divide between Jeff Keighley and myself.
Yes.
Myself, who has $5 in Steam credits, I'm like, I gotta be careful where I spend it. Gotta wait for a sale.
Don't want to spend it all in one place now.
You know, there is a divide, and I don't feel that there's something and this can go for a lot of things, but I think everything needs to take a step back and reset and reboot because it's gotten out of hand. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically was like one of the worst fandom experiences. Yeah, because I read all the comments.
I just remember you told me someone said I should go straight to hell.
Yeah,
which I thought was really funny.
Well, it was so funny because they said you were going to hell, and then another person immediately after said like the girl's a sociopath. I just thought these 2 funny comments because we both made a decision in a video game that's like eternally. Listen, we're Christian. I don't ever tell anyone to go to hell, okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of against the whole rule of it.
Right. Because,
judge not lest you be judged.
Yes, that's a huge thing. Like, right, I would never say, oh, you need to go to hell. Like, to me, that's a really severe condemnation. Like, I still take that really seriously. Like, if you were to say that, I would assume you're saying that to someone really awful. And it just makes me sad. It's like you're at the point now where you can't have a discussion between the 2 of us talking about which choice we made without you go to hell for what? Because it's bonkers to me. And listen, we're adults. We're in our 30s. And I'm sure most of the people watching the chat are also adults. I think people are just getting worse and worse online in general. I think that's it. I think the baseline, unfortunately, for acceptable behavior is so low as set by the standards of everybody. I mean, up to the highest level of office, you see performers, there is no more standard for decency, decorum, politeness that's really seen as something that's weak, or it's seen as something that you're a pushover. And it's really sad. It's so sad because I feel it's bled off online as well. Because let me tell you, this isn't even between, I've received horrific behavior from people that were not strangers.
Yes.
People that knew me, I had talked to. Awful, abysmal behavior, abysmal things done to me. Because what? Because I didn't conform to what you wanted?
Because you disagreed about a lore thing?
That's an insane way to treat somebody.
Yeah.
It's not right, and I don't know why this happens in the gaming community. And I do want to say, I know it just doesn't happen in the gaming community because one of my friends whom I actually met through Elden Ring, she told me about Interview with the Vampires reboot through AMC, was it?
Yeah.
There was a really awful experience in which a couple members of like the fandom community or whatnot were like stalked and harassed at a gaming convention because of opinions they had about a character or something like that. Like someone had actually tried to harass them physically in person over their opinions over the. So it's not just game
over a TV show.
Fandoms. I like what is going on with this? I can't now. I'm trying to think. I love Audrey Hepburn. I like adore her. I've got books and biographies. I have like, all of her movies. I love this woman. But if you were to tell me, like someone could type in the chat like Kite Tails, I freaking hate Audrey Hepburn. It would like ping off my heart. It just wouldn't impact me at all. Like I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is of something that I like. Like I'm not going to sit here. Wait, what? Why would you say that? I'm never talking to you again. Now, I might say like, oh, why? Is there something that she did? Because this woman is like flawless. Okay. She's like, there's nothing she did wrong. So I would be genuinely curious like, oh, why? Is there like, what did she do? But I wouldn't, at the end of the day, I don't care. It's not my job to make you agree with me. Right? And so what my question is like, why are people in these fandom spaces not capable of just letting it go? Why do they have to like get so aggressive if you don't conform to their opinions?
I do have a theory.
What's the theory?
So we think back to The Simpsons.
Yeah.
You had comic book guy who is pretty much the definition of toxic fandom in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a weaselly human being, gonna tell you why you're wrong, and you don't know the true nature of Captain Kirk, right? Like that was his entire character, right? He's gonna correct you. He's gonna call you like a doofus or a fool, but like it's simple jabs that are very. As soon as you leave the store, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that dude has problems.
He was very shallow and surface level.
Yes, and like you look at that dude and you're like, okay, you're one to judge, right? Like that's the whole point of comic book guy.
Yeah.
And I think like Matt Groening was onto something with that because that's the toxic fandom of that time.
Yeah.
But when you got to the internet and when you open up the floodgates to everybody is allowed to have an opinion, everyone's allowed to talk. I think, and this is just a theory, you can't quote me on this, it's just my own personal opinion. You had people coming out of the internet that were not of sound mind saying things that they should not have been able to say in spaces where they probably shouldn't have been talking. And because they're going to bring a intensity and because they're not of sound mind, they're going to be saying things in a way that's going to feel aggressive. It's not comic book guy. This is like, I'm using slurs, I'm using violence, I'm using harsh language and like, vitriol. I'm not well, but I'm going to write this on the internet. When other people saw that, who are of sound mind, but they see this behavior and they see it doesn't get checked, it doesn't get corrected, it's allowed to stand. They're like, well, this is the only way I'm allowed to engage now. In order to win this argument, I have to stoop to that level. And I think like a virus, it spread.
It is like it does, again, this sets the standard for what gets traction, what gets attention. I think like a lot of, like a problem I see today is like a lot of this rage baiting stuff. It's called rage content. It's literally like rage bait. Like people will do things that make you upset because they know the algorithm is going to show it to you. They know people are going to click on it. And it's so unfortunate because...
You can't get clicks on YouTube unless you make a rage bait title.
Right. Or unless you're just, like, dishonest. And I feel like that was one of my problems with going back to Elden Ring. One of my issues with the way that things started to transform from being like, oh, I played the game and I have these thoughts, to I hacked the game and I alone have hidden access. And let me tell you, that to me is a very dishonest way of presenting something, because now you are excluding people that don't have access to what you have, so they can't possibly understand it. And I just feel like it's set such a bad precedent going forward that I don't even know if you were to get into the lore scene right now, you'd probably be ripped to shreds, or someone would be like, oh, but like someone was saying earlier, like, oh, you don't know anything about Victorian occult, so you can't talk. Like, it's utterly ridiculous. I think it really has taken the fun out of being able to experience something just, purely. I've noticed this about fictional role models. There are more known for catharsis than artful diplomacy. Oh, yeah, I have a whole thing on diplomacy needs to come back in style as a follow-up to that. I've thought about this because a lot of the characters that we grew up with, someone posted something, was like LeVar Burton, and he was touching a picture of Mr. Rogers saying, like, I just came to visit an old friend.
Oh.
And someone in the comments said, gosh, 90s kids had the best role models.
We did.
Right?
We did.
We had the best role models, and you see it even with, you'd like Magic School Bus, Captain Planet, Bill Nye before he got a little crazy. But, reading Rainbow, Mr. Rogers was
Wishbone.
A little before our time, but he was still doing reruns. Wishbone. But you had these shows and programs that had this intention of, we want to teach children good traits. We want to teach children working together. We want to teach children clean up the environment, have fun at school, pursue education, pursue learning, pursue trying new things. Science is exciting. And you had all of these really great attempts at making things that were going to enrich the next generation's life. And there was a thoughtfulness in the curriculum and creation of what was made available. Mm-hmm. But now, today, I don't see that. Like you said, the art of diplomacy is really gone. That isn't something that I just don't. Where are people looking for examples on how to behave today? Because a lot of like popular streamers, I saw a video, I just told them about this. I saw a video on Reddit. It was a streamer house. There was a bunch of streamers together, and they were cooking something. And one of them started a fire with paper towels at the oven, and then threw the fiery towels into the pot of oil, and poof, it just ignites. And everyone's standing back. Everyone's terrified. Everyone's like, what do we do? What do we do? Do we put it out with water? Someone's like, don't put it out with water. It's oil. At least someone knew that. But someone's like, oh, someone take off your shirt. Let's take off your shirt so we have something to hold on to it, because they didn't know the concept of having an oven mitt. They didn't know the concept of, okay, well, here you go. Turn off the stove, take a lid, and snuff it out.
Yeah.
So they went to the bathroom, got this long towel, picked up this huge thing of oil, and are carrying it. And I just thought, oh my gosh, is this what people are watching?
These are the influences of today.
Like, what happened to Miss Frizzle?
Well, I think, the rise of the influencer killed off the constructed role model.
Yeah, it really did. And, it really taught people that you don't need to have any kind of qualification or skill. You don't need to have any life experience to be able, oh, here, I'm so successful. Why don't you just do what I do? And it's so disheartening to me, because I see it in people. I see the way that they talk. I see the way people behave and interact and reply to me. I'm like, oh, you must be learning from someone else. See, I wasn't raised the same way you are, so I am appalled with your behavior.
Well, and, in the lore community, I feel like a common response is to argue and put down.
Yes.
But that's not how you ever teach somebody.
No.
Like if you think back to when maybe you're still a lifelong learner, but when you're learning from someone.
And this, by the way, needs to be.
The worst.
Thank
you. And I'm learning right now how to use the microphone better.
Well, it just creates more echo.
More echo. Okay.
You don't necessarily need to be on top of it.
I'm going to be hyper aware of this now. But I mean, like, when you think about when you learn, if the first thing out of your teacher's mouth is like, you're an idiot, how do you not know this? Well, they're not a good teacher, and you're not going to be excited about learning that thing.
No.
So when you go and argue online, the first thing you should do is not insult the person or put them down like, oh, you don't understand that Renala is the daughter of Renangara? Like, when you are cutting down, you're not educating.
No.
Right? And like, if the whole point of discussing lore is to uncover and learn things together, then you need to approach it from a point of education, helping, understanding, betterness, togetherness. Like, be a teacher.
Yeah, if you were that invested and you want to teach other people.
But you also have to be open to other ideas too.
But I also just feel like you probably need to not be this invested.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fiction.
Like, don't be that invested in a story to the point where it's really impacting your negative, your relationships and your life negatively. I've also, like, we've been watching documentaries and stuff because I just feel like content, a lot of TV shows today are they're so thoughtless. And I read something that Netflix actually said that they're accounting in repetitive exposition.
Because people are on their phone.
Because people are in their phones.
Yeah.
So they want to catch people up on the story so they're not lost. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awful.
Because we've watched a lot less TV because it felt like it wasn't respectful of our
time.
time.
It was so bad. We watched Welcome to Derry on HBO Max, it's about It.
It's an It prequel.
And the first episode was really good. It was really enjoyable.
First 3 episodes were really good.
It kept getting worse and worse and worse. By the end, I was like, this is utter trash. I even saw where they didn't fully glue his wig on all the way.
And it was funny. Like, pause.
I paused it. I was like, look.
His wig is not glued on.
His wig is falling off.
And I'm like, what the heck?
This is HBO Max, okay?
Yeah.
The standards are so low. So I'm kind of sick and tired of it. Let me read some of these comments. What did those 80s kids have? He-Man? Har har. Time to save the planet through recycling. Yeah, one of the saddest things was probably the people of Captain Planet who came up with this really beautiful show, looking at it now and saying, well, that had absolutely no impact.
That didn't work.
That's not true, though.
It did work.
Because it did work on the
people
who saw it, it worked.
Yes, it did.
Right? It's just, what did Captain Planet teach us? Oh, unlike the show, the people are not powerful enough to fight these corporations.
We can't combine into a superhero.
We can't actually, with our powers combined. I wish.
You
know what? We do have that power, though.
I mean, Bug's Life taught me that.
We do technically
Not Seven
have
Samurai,
that power.
Bug's Life.
It's just you got to gather everyone up. You have to all convince, like, hey, we're all on the same side, okay? Can we stop with this infighting and stuff? Can we stop saying how stupid I am because I liked God of War?
I don't understand that at all.
So dumb. Okay. I hope you guys go to hell. Otherwise, how am I going to get some good company over here? Okay, that is the only appropriate response. Thank you for that. There's going to be a lot of learning the hard way. Yes, unfortunately, I think a lot of people are going to learn the hard way through being completely alienated, which is something that I don't want. Listen, I'm like freaking Leslie Knope. I want everyone to get along. I want everyone to be happy. And so I've been wanting to talk about this for years, like for 2 years. Because I said this is just such a problem. People are being abysmal about this, but then Claire Obscure happened. I'm like, okay, now I can really talk about this in a,
yeah,
another trend. Oh, Last Protagonist. Hi. Not to defend it, but many content creators are regarded as lol cows, where the content is laughing at how dumb or out of touch streamers are.
Which is wild that is like become its own thing.
That's funny. Wait, so now there's now there's this own category of watching.
There's layers.
There's layers.
It's a lasagna of streaming.
Actually, Last Protagonist. Okay, so Last Protagonist is also did some Elden Ring content. And I want to say, he and I had planned to do a video about, it was like asset reuse. And we were like, oh, because he had showed me some models that were from other games. And like these models that were just paid like $30 on Alibaba. Not like that, but kind of like
an asset store.
Right. It was an asset store. And so he showed me some of these assets. So I was like, oh, this is actually really exciting because I like knowing where things came from. It's just like one of my things. I like knowing where it came from.
I love how it's made. Oh, I can watch that show forever.
So it's like, oh, that's so cool. This statue actually came from this asset store. And we were going to do a thing on it, but I was like, I'm going to freaking get death threats if I go through with this.
Which is insane for you to even say. Because
you can't talk about asset reuse. There is no such thing, blinders on. And to me, it's just dishonest, but whatever. That was my tangent on that. Influencer only as bad as the people that... Yeah, how do we get people to stop watching this stuff?
Yeah, I think that's the big question.
How do we get people to stop watching mindless rage bait stuff?
And it feels a little bit like we're approaching a critical mass too.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be a doomer, and I also don't want to be the old person who looks at the young people and are like, meh. But I do feel like there has been a severe drop in the quality of content that the majority of people are ingesting.
Absolutely.
And I say this as someone who works in marketing.
Yes.
Like I have to look at what is being written, even in like the tech space and enterprise technology. Like I see so many more errors, punctuation issues, mistakes. And this is amongst like business professionals.
Right.
Like when I start to look at what kids, I mean, I shouldn't even say kids because it truly is all ages.
Yeah.
What they are watching on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you get your content, it is actual just, it cannot be good for you. I know they use the term brain rot, but like I do believe, back when I used to watch Nova before I went to bed every night on PBS and learn about supernovas, the galaxy, biology, the African Sahara. Like, yeah, that was curated content that was meant to be interesting, but also educate. If you remove that from your life, if you're not challenging your mind, if you're not creating those wrinkles in your gray matter and all you're getting is repetitive slop, like that's going to do something to us as a society. Yeah. And I feel like it's really representing in the comments. You're seeing it in your video comments.
I think this whole fixation with the fandoms and stuff and looking for deeper meaning and trying to connect, like that also may be a result of not having quality content. And so there's this like active search to try and draw as much benefit or value or, worth from something because it's not, we don't have well, I shouldn't say this, okay? A lot of content today, and this goes for movies, shows, the shows are out of control.
I will say, like, we've gone to the movies 5 times this year, and 5 times it's been phenomenal. So there's still good content.
Yes, there is still good content coming out, but there is a load of trash. Like, if you go look on Netflix, it's just like trash.
I couldn't find a single thing I wanted to watch that was new, that I hadn't already seen.
So we had to watch a documentary that was like an hour, and then the journalist...
we paid for a month of this. Yeah. Great.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
But so when there is like a lack of content, I think people glom on to something that they see is really like intricate and really just beautiful, and they're like, I want this in my life as much as possible, so I'm going to now obsess over it and make it my personality. This happened recently, so I follow Severance. I love Severance, okay? Severance is one of the most like just enjoyable, beautiful, creative shows that I've seen. And so it's been, a year since the finale? A little over a year or something? Okay. And so if you go in the subreddit, which I'm a part of, and you can tell when people are twitching for more because they'll start coming up with like, pause, look at this scene, look at the corner. If you zoom in, you can see this. And I just have to step back and say that was not the original intention of how you were supposed to watch that scene. And therefore, I would probably say that's more of an Easter egg or an oversight, or that's just something that wasn't meant to be forefront. They thought a character had 6 toes, and they thought, oh, if they have 6 toes. Someone was like, no, I really think you might need to find another show. Like, let's not start making crap up because we are so starved for more. Let's just find something else enriching enough. And I will say, if you guys are sleeping on documentaries, please don't. If you are bored of prestige TV and you're like, everything today sucks, go watch some documentaries because they are very... Real life is always going to be more exciting than
we live in a golden age of documentary.
We can give you a great one. I think it was by the Duplass brothers. It was Wild Wild Country.
Yes.
It's a Wild Wild Country about the Bagwan. It's about a cult. Go watch it, please.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Is it? Okay, go watch it. It's on Netflix. McMillions is great. But go watch something like that because you're going to be very, very entertained. And you're not going to be starved and looking for stuff and making connections to where they don't exist.
I think something else to consider too is people get hung up on certain media types, right? I only watch TV. I only play video games.
Right.
I only read books. I think you're doing a disservice for yourself by not exploring.
Yeah, for sure.
Go see a Broadway show. Go to a symphony.
Get a little fiber in your diet.
If you've only played video games, go read a book. I'm reading Moby Dick right now.
Yeah.
You know, I've never read this book before. It's phenomenal.
Call me Ishmael.
It is so much funnier than I would have ever expected it to be.
That's like when Black Myth Wukong came out a couple years ago, I read Journey to the West in anticipation. It was written in 1592. Now, I did read the abridged version.
It was still thick.
It was this big.
That's abridged.
I read the abridged version, which is this big, but Journey to the West. So it was written in 1592. That was one of the most entertaining reads ever. I resonated so much with Monkey King. I was like, oh my gosh, people like this existed, because he's an archetype. He's a stereotype of a certain personality, just very abrasive, overly confident. I read the book and then I listened to the audiobook because the narrator did such a good job for Sun Wukong. And I was so entertained by it. I had to look. I was like, oh my gosh, this book was written in 1592. You kind of just have to pause and think.
It's crazy.
People have always been so creative.
Yes.
And there is a wealth of really wonderful stuff out there that predates now. So don't get despondent and think, oh, we're never going to have this again. I fall into the same thing. And yes, I actually want to do an episode all about nostalgia because nostalgia for me is something that holds me back a lot. Like when I think about Chrono Trigger, Chrono Trigger is my favorite game. And here's the thing. Nostalgia allows you to have an experience that you wouldn't have if I played Chrono Trigger today, it wouldn't have impacted me as much, right? I wouldn't say, oh, I've never played anything like this. I mean, maybe I would, but I don't think it would because I
think it would.
I mean, maybe.
I think it would because the way Metal Gear Delta impacted you is the same way it impacted me when I played it when it came out.
Yeah.
Like that game
that's
floored
true.
me when I was 14 years old.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And okay,
now and I played. You made me play Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
When in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I love both of those games. Mm-hmm. So I think Moby Dick holds the test of time, And I do want to read. Bandita says, "True Zen is found in eclecticism. We live in a golden age where books, movies, plays, music,
everything is made available.
It's all available.
At your fingertips.
You can get access to thousands of years of phenomenal content. Choose to engage with something good, explore something new, and find that new, ooh, I like this, rather than fixate on the teeth of the model.
Change the channel on the lol cows.
Yes.
Is that what they're called now?
Turn off the lol cows.
Turn off the lol cows. Don't give them your time. Listen, the one thing that is always happening that is gone is our time.
Yes.
The time we've spent streaming, we're not going to get that back. It's just
But I don't consider this a waste of time. I'm enjoying it.
There are some people.
An intellectual conversation.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is, the art of diplomacy in action right here. But there are some people that, and this is what the whole problem with doom scrolling is that you end up, and I've heard this like, oh, I just got on my phone, I watched YouTube, and then it was night.
Oof.
And I'm like, that's so, one, it's sad in a way because your time was robbed from you, right? Your time was stolen from you from an algorithm that's very predatory because it wants you on the site.
Yeah.
But you weren't necessarily possibly being enriched by that. Or you weren't benefited from that if you're just watching like shorts and this stuff. Sometimes I'll find myself doing it too when I'll turn on the app to check and then I'll look at a short and then I'll have like the thumbnail and I'll watch it. I'm like, oh. Thankfully though, I mean, my ADHD is kind of a blessing in this sense because I just get I'm like, I'm more so, I get hyper fixated on a project. It's really my blessing is instead of like, which is a huge problem for me, the hyperfixation is kind of my saving grace because I will get fixated on fixing something or learning something until I do it. So it kind of has kept me away from getting involved in that trap of like being doom scrolled or whatever it's called, vibe scrolling. I don't know. There's like different.
There's different types of scroll. There's so many
different terms
for
all this stuff now. But I just wanted, and I know like I really don't think, I've said this before too, I don't think I can really exist on YouTube in its current state because it's not the same anymore. And I think in order to play the game, you really have to be able to do the thumbnails. You have to be able to do the hashtags. You have to be able to do the face. You have to be able to do the content trap stuff. I'm like, I just don't think I can bring myself to do that. So I've talked about some video essays that I want to do, but honestly, even then I'm like, I don't know because I don't think it's what people...
You got to do it for you.
Yeah, I want to do it for me. It's like, this is what I want. Like I did one about the boss or just that one scene because I wanted to break down that scene, the end of Metal Gear Solid Delta, the last fight. I was like, it's so beautiful and it impacted me so much. But I've really discovered my favorite type of storytelling is linear storytelling with character growth that doesn't have any kind of ambiguity that impedes you from having once upon a time all the way up until the end. I like that. I like fairy tales. I like once upon a time they all lived happily. It's nice and close. Mm-hmm. And when we played through the entirety of Metal Gear Solid, that was incredible.
Right.
Because it was one big continuation.
Yeah.
And that is why I've never cried so hard as I have at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4.
4 is just, I told you.
4 is just,
I told you.
Not only, I'm a Logic fan. It has to be a project worth doing for itself. Oh, yeah, the hyperfixation
Agree.
stuff. Agreed. Yes, most of it for me is like home improvement stuff, like learning how to drywall, learning how plumbing, but
there's your life before you play Metal Gear Solid 4, and then there's your life after you play it.
I would even say, like, for all the games, like, 2 was another big one. I was like, But for me, I've really decided that is what I like the most. That's why I loved Clear Obscure so much, too, when I played it, because it was this very, nicely packaged story. And I think I really hope, I don't want to see the sporadic, ambiguous, this could have happened, or it could have been that. I don't like it.
See,
it doesn't resonate with me? No thanks.
Even after my intro about my FromSoft fanaticism, my favorite filmmaker of all time is David Lynch. So, I might criticize the fact that I don't like the FromSoft stories and I don't care about them, but I love that cryptic man and his cryptic movies.
I freaking hate David Lynch movies.
But I love them because for me it's just I'm watching a dream that I'm like picking up, But you know what? I walk away from those with my own interpretation.
It's his style, and it's David Lynch's
I
style.
love it.
But yeah, the ambiguity with his films seems a little bit just self-serving, because hasn't he even said, like, I don't know what the interpretation of Mulholland Drive is.
There are so many.
I've unlocked the real secret of Mulholland Drive, and it's in the dumpster.
There's a lot of, like, only I and I alone have the interpretation.
There's only one person who knows what Mulholland Drive really means now.
Who's that?
And it's Jesus Christ, because they're hanging out in heaven having coffee.
Yeah, maybe David Lynch, has told him, here's what I really
He's like,
think.
Here's the truth about Mulholland Drive.
But this is like the man's need to search for conspiracy and find truth, in hidden messages and stuff like that. I think it's just something that we like, right? We're problem solvers. Like,
I love a good puzzle.
When you give, like, you've seen, like, apes, greater apes and chimpanzees, and they'll, like, play with toys and they'll solve puzzles and stuff like that. I think humans are we're predisposed to wanting to solve puzzles. And I think that's what really appeals to people about figuring things out, is that, I've got it. I mean, look at detective novels like Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie and stuff. They're huge, right? People love Poirot. Mm-hmm. People love true crime and
Batman.
And figuring things out. Yes. It's something that has always been very popular. So I think this is just kind of like playing to that. But again, that is totally fine. It's just when you begin to treat people like absolute garbage because they don't see it the same way, or they don't, agree with you, is where it's a problem. So
people are willing to engage with things up to their level, their limit. And, you went deep. You've gone deeper in a FromSoft game than I've ever gone.
Yes, but I don't think, looking back, I think so much of that was pressure from the expectation of what it became.
Yeah.
Rather than me actually having a genuine interest.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it started off really pure, and then it became so convoluted, and the expectation was so high that I was, like, starting to, like, oh, well, maybe this is really about ancient Babylonian burial practice, stuff like that, where I'm sure the designers had a sort of Pinterest board of, like, things they'd researched,
I mean, sky burials are really cool.
They'd researched things like, oh, I really like this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it's about. And so this is sort of just my official statement on that. Claire Obscure's story had me hooked until the end of Act 2. Yeah, you know what, Pastor? I've heard that. Because the twist, you had the same complaint.
Yeah.
You had the same complaint.
Yeah.
So he had the same complaint you did.
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything. Maybe I haven't seen enough of the Cyberpunk 2077 community to know, but from what I've witnessed, its lore usually inspires more curiosity than conflict. That's how it should be.
Well,
you want the story, you want everyone, when you say something like, oh, whoa, you want that kind of response. You don't want, like, that's stupid.
I've been a part of the Metal Gear Solid community since, like, I was a 14-year-old, right? Like, I've never, yes, we went a little nuts with the Phantom Pain trailer when it came out. And I showed you, right? I was like...
But that's excitement.
That was... And Kojima wanted that to happen.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Now, they did spin off their own crazy little cult called Never Be Game Over and fell for a whole bunch of traps that other developers were trying to put out there. And, like, it happens. I get it. We missed the Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
But Kojima moved on to Death Stranding. And I think that's pretty neat.
Right.
Like... You can love a thing, and you can love a thing as a group, but also accept that sometimes things end.
Right.
And things move on.
Yeah.
And you can still love a thing. I playing those Metal Gear games with you reminded me of why that is my favorite series of all time.
Yeah, and it was a great experience. But there's so much out there to experience. So much. Like, just let's not limit ourselves to what even if it's not popular. And you know what? I feel just like it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what's trending or what's going to make you successful or whatnot. Like, just do things that enrich your life personally.
Logic Fan has a profound comment. Says people long for solid ground, something they can trust. If they don't find it, they just keep going in random directions.
Yeah. I mean, that is very, very poignant today for so many reasons.
So many reasons.
And I think a lot of people just don't see any kind of stability with anything. You just broke really bad news to me that Paramount is buying Warner Brothers.
Which just like everything will become the giant blob of ownership.
When we have this problem with monopolies buying IP, buying studios that have existed forever, that have been
as long as movies have been around.
It is so sad to me because it's like the monopolies are the death of innovation and creativity and competition and trying better.
And it's all for the name of profit.
For what? My God, I'm so sick of it. So yes, I am longing for stable ground. I just feel like it's February and it just feels about to be March. It's about to be March.
Oh.
But still. So that's something I just wanted to talk about for a while. So I don't know if we're going to stream on YouTube again. We usually stream on Twitch.
I'll figure this out.
Maybe we'll,
If we want to dual stream, I can figure that out.
Because we usually stream on Twitch, although I am so happy to see some of the Twitch people here.
I'll get it working.
But this has been really fun. Thanks so much for your comments, everyone. And
thanks for having me as your special guest.
Yeah. See, I was also going to do something fun. I was going to do like an intro, like, ladies and gentlemen, we have a FromSoft super fan. And I was like, whatever.
He's already here.
You.
I did wear my FromSoft shirt.
Which... Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
Those that know.
I mean, I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you their story or what.
I have no idea who that is.
It's Dark Sun Gwendolyn. It's a boss from Dark Souls, and I just thought they were cool.
That was a cool shirt.
That's my level of engagement with the lore.
Yeah. That's perfectly okay. Like, we are allowed to just like things without getting too invested, you know?
The snakes remind me of Mesmer, actually.
Oh, yeah.
See, it's a reference. Mesmer's a reference.
The snakes have been there all along.
To Dark's. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, with that being said, thank you for I'm going to read Keldar's comment. Unfortunately, the merger will not be seen as a monopoly since those studios are having a harder time surviving on their own. I really just think we are going to have a moment in which everything falls apart. And what's going to be important for you in that moment is having a good community. So this is launching the Kite Tales Steam community.
Oh, nice.
I should make one.
You should make a little Steam community.
I'll make a little Steam community. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We're going to go ahead and sign off. So have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for hanging.
Bye. Okay, now you just